But that's actually who this bourbon is named after Hancock Lee, which is freaking crazy because nobody knows that. Do you think people know that?
I don't think Hancock Lee became a president.
I don't think so either.
Going back to my original question.
Yeah. Well,
welcome everyone to episode 91 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Anthony and Stephen. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, good sir. How are you this evening?
Fantastic.
You look fantastic.
Yes, because I'm warm.
Oh, yeah. You're warm, you mean you're not standing out in the cold?
That is correct.
Well, standing out in the cold is something that we both did this past weekend, and for good reason, because
it was the first in-person bourbon lottery in several years.
Absolutely. So Liquor Barn came storming back, giving the people what they want. Obviously, when COVID hit, nobody was going to take the chance and say, hey, let's everybody crowd into our stores, crowd into our parking lots, and come here for an in-person raffle. And so I understand why the in-person raffle was taken away. But so back during COVID, it was taken away, and then Liquor Barn announced this past weekend, we're bringing back in-person Pappy and BTAC raffle.
Yep.
And we actually had an interesting approach to this. So
yeah, we actually decided to divide and conquer.
You thought conquer, but we did not conquer.
We divided.
We divided.
Because come to find out, I'm glad we did this. The Liquor Barns had very few bottles for as many wristbands they had passed out.
I know. So that was the thing. So when this hit social media, what did they say? They were going to cap it at 1,500?
1,500.
Yeah, 1,500 wristbands per location. And for those of you guys that are listening that don't know Lexington and don't know the Liquor Barn, they're a very large chain that has, how many stores would you say in Lexington? Is it probably like...
They have two in... Whoa, I'm sorry.
They got like 6 or 7 maybe in Lexington?
Yeah, they got the two major ones.
Yeah, but the two bigger
and
ones
some
are...
satellite ones.
Yeah. So the big ones are the ones that they held the actual raffle at. Yeah. And it was Beaumont and Hamburg. And those two stores, they had 1,500 wristbands. And we were thinking, what were you thinking for bottle count?
Oh, I mean, I was expecting at least 200 bottles.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking back
for as, you know, I mean, they've done those random, you know, online ones that no one ever wins.
Yeah.
So
everyone's favorite during COVID.
Yeah.
Enter the online raffle, you're never going to win.
And so I was expecting to have 1,500 wristbands. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. So I was expecting at least a couple hundred bottles to choose from.
Well, let me ask you this. Was this your first in-person raffle?
No, we did the Total Wine back in 2018.
Oh, yeah, but I wasn't with you then.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I meant, okay, so yeah, you did Total Wine in 2018. I did that one as well.
And that shopping center was a lot better suited for having a large chunk of people come there.
That's true, yes.
Because the parking lot is way bigger.
Yeah. And they also had more bottles back then. But what I was going to say is, that was the inaugural one Total Wine did. I had done Liquor Barn raffles before that. And when I had participated in, I think it was 17 and 18 and 19, each year they did have several hundred bottles. Yeah. And so I don't know if that was because they only did it at one store as opposed to splitting it. So this past time when they did the raffle, I think they had this at 7 different stores in the state.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's a lot.
So I think they took the entire allocation and split it between 7 stores, which means that every store I think only had like maybe 60 to 80 bottles tops.
I would say so.
And 1,500 people. Yeah. The hope started to very much dwindle as they started reading the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So what time did you get there? Can you tell me? Well, you went with Michael, right?
I went with Michael.
Yeah, trader.
So it opened at 7, and the raffle was going to start at 9. And so we kind of showed up about 7:30.
Okay.
Because we just needed to get wristband. But after we parked and we started walking, and then we saw the line wrapped around the store.
Yeah.
Then down the street.
Yeah.
So I say at 7:30, there was probably 500 to 700 people in line at the Beaumont's location.
Yeah, I think it was about the same in Hamburg, and I actually kind of dodged it a little bit this year. So this is actually some advice we can give to our listeners out there as well. So I had sick kids at my house because that's been a perpetual theme forever.
Yeah.
And I did not think I was going to be able to even go to the raffle. It was like going to depend on the condition of the kids when I got up. And so I got up and everything seemed okay in the house. And at 7 o'clock, I get a message from a guy. I won't put his name out here. He says, "Are you going to Liquor Barn for the raffle?" I said, "If my kids are okay, I'll be out there." And he said, "Well, I got bad news. There's already 2,000 people here."
What?
Yeah. I was like, the first thing I said back to him was like, "There's no way there's 2,000 people there." And he sends me a picture and goes, "Yeah, there is. Look at this." And I said, "That's not 2,000 people." So here's the rules of bourbon raffles. People always overestimate the number of people. You're right. It probably was about 500 to 700 people because that's about what it was in Hamburg.
Yeah.
But I didn't show up there. I went and picked up another buddy of mine, Blaine. I called him. He was supposed to already be out there. And I said, "Hey, what's it look like?" He said, "I'm waiting for you to pick me up." I'm like, he planned that, right? He knew it. So I pick him up and I drive out there and we walk right in at like 8:20.
Yeah.
And just walk right up, no line, and grab a wristband. And then we were ready to go for the raffle. So it always seems like there's a rush. Like, I feel bad. Some people went out there, I think, at 5 a.m. to line up.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's 20 degrees. So they're lining up at 5 a.m. And this wasn't 5 a.m. to get a chance to buy. It was 5 a.m. to get a chance to get a wristband to then get drawn, which was not going to happen for a majority of the people to buy. So if you're doing one of these and there's a cap or a limit, like, I've never seen Liquor Barn turn anybody away. I'm not saying that, like, the next one you should, like, wait till 8:40 to go get your wristband.
The best thing, right?
But it seems to me like you didn't really need, like, nobody really had to go there. Get in line by 7 if you want to be safe.
Yeah.
But people didn't need to go there and line up at 4 and 5 in the morning. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people, they got their wristband, then they went out to breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so cold. Luckily, the store was open.
Yeah. Did you guys go and have a pour or anything?
Well, no, we just went in to get warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do a pour at 7 o'clock in the morning like some people were doing.
There were people, man, that were out of Hamburg, man.
I can understand the mimosas and the Bloody Marys that were being handed out, but I don't know if I could do a pour so early in the morning.
It is a little bit early for it, but I was watching a lot of people drink. So the nice thing about this being the BTAC Pappy raffle is they take those bottles, they put them in the case, and then they charge a reasonable amount, I would say. Some people don't think it's reasonable, but I think George T. Stagg was like, what, 25 or 30 a pour?
Okay.
And then, like, some of the Van Winkles were upwards between 30 and 50 and $60 a pour. So probably better than you're going to do at most restaurants.
Yeah, those seem reasonable.
And yeah, a lot of people that came out that didn't even win a bottle were happy they got to try the stuff. So yeah, it's man, I was just so happy to see it back because it's more about the camaraderie. I don't know. Did you guys have a good time over at Beaumont?
Yeah, one of the buddies. So he asked near the end, and they had given out just over 1,000 wristbands.
Okay.
Then he actually got called.
Oh, really?
So someone that was with actually won. He ended up selecting a lot B.
Oh, cool.
He was pretty deep in the call.
So yeah, if you get toward the end, then you never get one of those higher the sought after BTAC or the higher age Pappies or anything like that. But walking away with a lot B for retail price, what was it, $80?
I'm not sure what he paid for it.
I think it was like 60 or $80 or something. It's crazy.
I remember afterwards we kind of walked in and we're like, are they going to put anything out? They're going to put out.
They didn't.
We didn't hang around that long, but I did see the last couple of people go up there. So there was one bottle of Handy still available.
Are you serious?
And there were like 3 Old Rips.
Wow.
That was kind of the last 4 bottles.
It's just crazy to me. I think I told this story before, but when I won my first ever Liquor Barn raffle, I go in the store expecting like a Lot B or an Old Rip Van Winkle, and William Rueller's sitting there. And I was like, what is going on? And people in front of me were grabbing the Lot B's and the Old Rips because it's a Pappy, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Anything Van Winkle. And I'm going, oh my God. I'm like, this is amazing. Because I got called like 50 at that day, and I walked away with the William Rueller. So, man, much love to Liquor Barn, for bringing that back. Even though we didn't win anything, I'm just glad it was back. Yeah, fun hanging out, seeing a lot of people in the community, seeing people that listen to our show, which was really cool, and getting to just experience that fun and camaraderie. It was a lot of good times.
Yep. So, Anthony, this week we're going to continue catching up on reviews.
Oh, yeah.
So we have another backlog we have to get to.
This is true, and we like those reviews, so keep them coming. But this week's shout-out comes to us from Gamer13MN. Maybe that's Minnesota. I don't know. The title of the review is Very Entertaining and Informative Podcast. And this reviewer says, Anthony and Steven are enjoyable people to listen to who happen to talk about life and review a bourbon that is generally attainable. I have tried to listen to all the whiskey podcasts out there. This is one of 2 whiskey podcasts that I listen to all the episodes.
Whoa.
Wow. The audio quality is good. Compliments to Stephen. And the information is enjoyable. Well, thank you for that review. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Gamer. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, maybe we got to get our gamer tag going for the mashup on PlayStation, right?
Yep. If anyone else wants a shout out, just leave a review on Apple Podcast, and next time we record, we'll give you a shout out. So, Anthony, for this week, we have quite the Pennsylvania Avenue bourbon to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This week, we have a single barrel Hancock's Presidential Reserve bourbon whiskey.
Wow. That sounds like it's just amazing. So this Hancock's Presidential Reserve single barrel bourbon is distilled by Buffalo Trace in Frankfurt. The bottle date is 2019. The ABV is 44.45. Proof is 88.9. The age is non-age stated. The mash bill is Buffalo Trace's mash bill number 2, which is not disclosed but rumored to be high rye. And the MSRP is 50 bones.
It's pretty reasonable.
That is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
For some single barrel Buffalo Trace stuff.
No doubt.
Woo!
Can't even get Blanton's for that.
You can't. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Blanton's is going to run you what now? Like $65 a bottle?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you get it from the distillery or if you get it from a retailer that's not gouging.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this is the same mash bill as that, so
That's true.
just aged a little differently. But let's get to the bottle. The bottle it's almost like just a decanter.
It does. It looks like it's got those nice little ribs at the bottom. It's like crystal.
Glass cuts in there. Exactly. Like crystal. It's short and kind of squatty. It's one of those that doesn't seem like it should be 750 mils.
Definitely not.
It seems like it's less. But I think in one aspect it may hurt it being so short. If it's in like the back behind any bottle,
Yep.
no one's going to see it.
That's true. It's going to get overlooked for sure because it is very short and squatty.
Even just for tonight, it was like the second row. Is it the second row or third row? I don't know how to look for it.
Yeah.
And a Blanton's was blocking it.
This is taller than a Blanton's, isn't it?
I don't know. I
It
mean,
might be.
there's
Yeah,
the angle I was looking at it, but I'm like, where is this
You're
damn
like,
thing
where the
at?
hell's where's the Hancock's at?
So,
Well, it's got these two oval labels, one on the front and back, very simple but elegant. And what is that? Is that red and gold? I'm terrible with my colors. You guys know that from listening.
It's like it's red and gold.
It's like a burgundy.
Yeah.
Like a burgundy and gold, and it's inscribed and says that doesn't really have a whole lot of information on here, does it? It just says that this is
zero.
Doesn't even say anything about it being other than single barrel, and the proof. It literally says nothing about the brand at all.
And the proof, I feel, is pretty dominant on here.
Yeah, what is that proof?
Or just the font size up on the neck.
It is. It's very. They're very proud of it.
Exactly. I don't know the significance of 88.9. This is NPR. That's our local NPR station, so it's kind of funny.
Professional voice man coming in at you. That is our local NPR station, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The 88.9. Fantastic. Yeah, but it's got a very girthy cork at the top on some wood.
Yep.
It's massive though.
It had a good pop.
It did. Yeah, had a good pop. I think this would look great though if it had a horse topper on it. Then it would be fantastic.
It would change it up. So all in all, I think the bottle looks pretty good. The decanter lingo is perfect for it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I have a kind of a problem with the label. Why does it say Presidential Reserve? Because other bourbons, there's a presidential version. Like a Jefferson's, they have a presidential version. I know I've seen one or two others that use the keyword presidential to distinguish something. So where's the non-presidential version of Jefferson's? Or the non-reserve?
Yeah. Non-reserve, non-presidential. And then this, I got so confused when I see presidential because presidential and Hancock reminds me of, wasn't John Hancock like the president of the Continental Congress? Wasn't it like his thing?
I believe it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So when I see this bottle, first of all, let's go back. The first time I ever saw this bottle was at a liquor barn, and it was like $24.99, and it was in a red velvet bag. And when I saw it and it said Hancock's Presidential Reserve, I immediately thought it was like some kind of an honorary thing to John Hancock.
Yeah.
That's my first thought. So tonight, when you told me we were going to be doing this bottle, I said, I better find out what the heck's going on here. So Buffalo Trace, as we've said in the past, is all about people. And actually, this bourbon is honoring Hancock Lee. So Hancock and Willis Lee actually were the people who settled Leestown up in Frankfort. So, if you live in Lexington, you know Leestown Road.
There's Leestown Road.
There's no Leestown anymore because it's Frankfort, right?
Oh, okay.
But it was an early settlement and first surveyed in 1773, and they named it in 1775. And it was actually a permanent family settlement where they actually were shipping things like tobacco, hemp, corn, and whiskey down to New Orleans.
1770s?
Yeah, 1770s.
That's before statehood.
Exactly. So this is when we were technically, I think, still Virginia.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how far back this goes. But that's actually who this bourbon is named after Hancock Lee, which is freaking crazy because nobody knows that. Do you think people know that?
I don't think Hancock Lee became a president.
I don't think so either.
Going back to my original question.
Yeah. It all comes full circle. Why the heck is it called Presidential Reserve?
Yeah.
That is so. Maybe I always say Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, if you're listening, you can come on here. Send us Harlan Wheatley to come down here and tell us why this is called a Presidential Reserve instead of just
Reserve.
Hancock Lee's Leestown whiskey or whatever it should be called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting. So when we think about bourbon names and all the stuff that goes into them, I don't think the average consumer cares. I don't think anybody's going to care about it past this, but it's fun to know about.
Yeah. Especially that it's not even has nothing to do with presidential or Hancock.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like some weird anomaly.
Well, Anthony, should we go for our first notes?
Sure thing.
Oh man, I smell some nice sweetness out of this.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It's to me got a little bit of cherry, almost like a faint, like medicinal or maraschino cherry a little bit.
I'm just getting a lot of butterscotch brown sugar.
Yep. It's got nice. The nosing is actually quite nice.
Yeah, I think the lower proof of this makes it to where there's no ethanol.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, and I hope I'm completely wrong about this, so people can nail me on it, but Blanton's is rumored to be between 4 and 6 years old at 93 proof. This smells a lot like Blanton's, but it also might be a little bit more aged. Not getting heavy oak, but I feel like the flavors that are coming out indicate that it might be aged a little bit more.
So you're saying this is better than Blanton's?
Well, I don't know. We got to taste it first.
I'm just saying by age.
By age, I think it might be. I could be completely wrong about that, but I think maybe that's why it's presidential. So while we're nosing this and we're talking, the reason why I mentioned Blanton's is because this, I'm not sure if we've said it before and if people actually know this, but Buffalo Trace only has their 3 main mash bills as far as, well, they have their rye, then they have mash bill 1 and 2, and then they have a wheated mash bill. So this is actually mash bill 2, and this is the home of their single barrel bourbon portfolio. So Blanton's is the one that everybody knows about. That's a single barrel. And then they also have this Hancock's that we're going to be drinking here in a moment. There's also Rock Hill Farms that comes in at 100 proof. And then there's Elmer T. Lee that comes in at 90 proof. And so all 4 of those single barrel bourbons all come from mash bill 2, which is it's kind of crazy. So they're all just basically, I'm guessing, just different ages and different proofs.
So this list includes the single barrels, but there's one more bottle that needs to be on here because of the mash bill.
Oh yeah, what are you thinking about?
Well, I guess a couple. The ancient age and the ancient age.
Oh yeah, those ones now. People fashion those as being like,
and those are what, 36-monthers?
Yeah, they're not aged very long, but they do have the similar nose, I guess, as the beloved Blantons, right? Line up around the building, Blantons.
Yeah,
but yeah, interesting. So I mean, the people that are listening out there, when you're thinking about Buffalo Trace and their portfolio and the stuff that you're chasing, take some time to actually, if you get your hands on one or more of these products, compare them to one another, blind them against one another, and see if they have the same kind of aromas and flavors that you think you're getting between the bourbons.
Yeah, it's really nice to nose. I'm not getting much more than what we said, the cherry and the sweetness, but it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Well, I think let's go ahead and just taste this. Let's go for our first taste.
Sounds good.
So, okay, so right off the bat, you get hit with that little spice.
Absolutely.
Little rye spice. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think the low proof is kind of showing itself right now.
Yeah.
The finish this evaporates.
When you say it evaporates, are you saying that it doesn't last long?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then there's real no hug, but it drinks easy.
It does. Yeah. And what's interesting, like you mentioned that rye spice, and it hits.
Right.
Even more so, I think, than maybe like a Blanton's or something else. And I'm not trying to constantly compare it to that. I'm just thinking of it.
I think it's the right thing to do with this bottle.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a little bit of you got your caramel vanilla, but the vanilla is like a little bit bitter. There's a little bit of a bitterness that comes out of the back spice. And it's, to me, it's almost like vanilla bitter. I don't know if that makes any sense, but then it sort of falls off. And the weird thing about it falling off is it's got some good stuff going on, but it just falls off awfully quick. Like it's just a real quick burst of flavor, classic bourbon flavors, a little bit of high rye spice draws you up, and then it just falls off. Are you getting anything else?
No, but I can easily see someone destroying this bottle in one night.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one that pours are going to go down easy.
The 88.9 just makes it so easy.
Yeah, it's
and there's no bite.
Yeah, nothing. No, you're talking about bite or aftertaste.
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the bitterness on the palate that I was talking about is a very short. Everything is very short and momentary with this, like compact,
which doesn't seem very presidential.
Oh, definitely not. No. Especially not, Bill Clinton.
You need a cigar with this bottle. Yeah. So, Anthony, would you pass, try, or buy on the single barrel Hancock's Presidential Reserve bourbon whiskey?
Stephen, as much as I respect you, I actually want to hear your perspective on this one first.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm passing over to you immediately.
Very smooth drinker.
Yep.
For as few notes as they were on the nose, I really enjoyed the nosing.
Okay.
I was swirling this thing as you were talking, just trying to take in all the cherry and the sweetness of it. Mm-hmm. It goes down easy.
That's true.
It wasn't much as far as the finish goes, but I'm going to feel like I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
Yeah. For $50, which is what I got this bottle for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
MSRP.
This bottle came to us via Florida trip.
Oh, yeah. That was, you talked about that one. I remember you guys talked about that one.
We picked up several bottles down there, so I got it for retail. So I don't know if I'm going to pay the $110 secondary for it.
Yeah.
It's pretty pricey, but for retail, I don't see why not buy it. It's pretty tasty. So, especially when people are buying the Blantons for $15 more than this, at least.
Yes.
So I find this is a totally reasonable purchase.
Okay. I respect and I'm following you on all this, okay? So here's my thing. I would always buy this bottle when I saw it before, okay? And when I say before, I mentioned this early in the episode that this bottle used to be a $24.99 or $29.99 bottle, and it was pretty regularly available at Liquor Barn. In fact, I actually thought it was Liquor Barn's house brand at one point in time.
Oh, because of the bag it comes with.
Yeah, that bag says Liquor Barn, single barrel, presidential, whatever it says on it. And so keeping that in mind and thinking about today's market, I am going to be a try at retail. Okay? That's important, to try at retail. I was very close to being a pass only for this reason. Okay? And this is why I don't want to be a hypocrite. I wouldn't say pass on this because I've said this in the past on the past try by. If you get this bottle and you drink it, you're going to enjoy it.
You are.
It's not a bad drinker by any means, and it's not something that even though it doesn't pack a punch, you're going to be disappointed with, right? There's things that don't pack a punch that don't taste good. This actually tastes good. But you also can take this bottle if you get it, and you can instantly turn it into probably double and get something else that you might want. I'm always talking about not as a thing where you can use it as a business, right? That's not what we're talking about. Go trade it with somebody who might appreciate it more. Do something like that if you're like me and you're in the try category. I do think, though, that the hardcore enthusiast that likes a high-proof bourbon is not going to like this.
No. That's an interesting point on it. I was kind of reviewing this with looking at it through a Blanton's lens.
Yep.
Because it's the same mash bill. And I think this drink's a little easier in Blanton's. I know it's a little bit lesser proof, and it's cheaper.
That's true. You make a strong point there. You're right, because
Because I know you're not going to pass on a Blanton's if you see it.
Yeah, nobody's ever going to pass on a Blanton's because for the same reason I just talked about for this. Because
exactly.
It's going to carry a premium. It's going to be something that impresses. This actually will impress probably less than a Blanton's because nobody knows what the heck it is because Buffalo Trace does not market it.
Do you think it's because of the bottle?
No, I don't.
Do you think that round globe and the horsey?
Listen, all it takes is Buffalo Trace to put this somewhere on a TV show and for people to realize and have it be more available because it's not available. It's not widely available everywhere.
I'll be curious, like those bags that come with it, say Liquor Barn.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if like another, like let's say Ohio.
Do they have special bags?
Do they have a bag that has their...
I don't think so. I think that's just a Liquor Barn thing. Because think about it. When you found it in Florida, it was just like this on the shelf, right?
No bag.
Yeah,
it was
bag.
Just the bottle.
So Liquor Barn, they get like not only is it single barrel, but they're picking like by the barrel apparently. So yeah, that's a good point. So if you can get this in your state, it probably will just be on the regular shelf in this glass bottle we're talking about, not in the bag like you see it around here. But yeah, you're right. So comparing it to Blanton's, which is probably the most next available counterpart, because Rockhill Farms and Elmer T. Lee maybe come out twice a year.
Yeah.
So they're not putting abundance of those out, and their secondary prices are going to be between $250 and $325, $350. Nuts. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, talking about accessible single barrels from Buffalo Trace. Yeah, I might have to give this a slight edge over Blanton's for the price and the quality of it. Controversial statement. So as we're talking about this delicious bourbon that we're drinking tonight, I couldn't help but think about this news that came across.
Speaking of another rye.
Another rye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear about the news?
Just before you came over, I'm not going to get into it, but my third-party Twitter app has not worked in several days, and I'm pissed off about it.
Okay.
So I had to go to the actual Twitter app.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah. You were talking about it. I get it. I know. I've heard.
And I saw a lawsuit was out there.
Absolutely. This is a big deal. So I think it was about 2 weeks ago when I first started to hear the news that Sazerac, right? So Sazerac, the parent company that carries all these wonderful products that we're talking about.
That was about the time you were down there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a little bit after that when I was down at Sazerac House.
You were stirring the pot.
Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything about it, right? But Republic National is the biggest, I think the largest distributor of spirits in the United States. And, of course, here locally and in other states, they distribute all of Sazerac's products. So they're distributing your Eagle Rare, your Blanton's, Weller, all that stuff, and bringing the Pappies and all that. And so, interestingly enough, Buffalo Trace Sazerac announced that they were going to be partnering with Eagle Distributing, right? And I don't know if it's American or whatever it is, just Eagle Distributing, the ones that do most of the beer here in the area, right?
Right.
So we all thought that, hey, maybe this means that Blanton's will be more available, or maybe Republic was doing something crazy and blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out just this past Friday, I actually got to give some credit here. I actually read this on Sipping Corn's website, so good shout out to Brian Hare over there. Guy. Bourbon Justice, good guy. So he actually had carried the article with the lawsuit that Sazerac filed against Republic for $38 million, alleging all kinds of ill stuff. Everything from, I think after they ceased the partnership now, there's like some kind of amount of billable, product that they have at their warehouses and stuff that they're not paying for. Then they're alleging things like they tried to package, so they were making retailers buy stuff that wasn't of the Sazerac profile so they could get more stuff. So essentially it's like this. It's like, hey, buy all this other product so that we can increase your Pappy allocations and stuff like that.
We've seen that from several stores.
Yes, yeah. And it matches from what we've seen on the ground when you got stores packaging and bundling stuff.
Weird.
Yeah, and we're like, why are they packaging and bundling this when it's not even a Buffalo Trace product? And the owner's like, well, we can get better allocations if we do this. Well, that's because that's the game Republic was playing probably. And so it's all in the lawsuit. Encourage you guys to go read it. But, I mean, this is some big news. What do you think about it? You think it'll make things better for us if they're partnered with somebody else? It almost sounds like Republic was doing some crazy stuff, or else maybe Saz is trying to get out in front of
what does it give Republic for doing that? Just pushing more product?
I think pushing more product and I don't know enough about the 3-tier system to know how big, but everyone always says like Republic's a massive monopoly. Like they they don't do anything and make a lot of money. They would probably argue otherwise. They do stuff. I mean, they're distributing the product and everything, but really, what value do they add for the money that they take? So, actual prices of products coming from distilleries, sometimes those price increases that we see aren't necessarily at the distillery level. They're with the distributor, and then those distributors do things like hold product back. They might sell product to friends. So all the stuff that's getting released to them isn't necessarily making it to the shelves. So that's another thing that I'm sure is involved that they probably can't come out and say in the lawsuit.
Is that why we only had 80 bottles this past weekend?
It might be, by the way. Yeah, exactly. That's my big hope, though. I'm thinking maybe if they partner with a different distributor who doesn't seem to be, I can't call them corrupt because that would mean like, would I be defaming Republic if I said that? I don't have the information to say that they're corrupt, but it seems to me from the filing that Sazerac's alleging that they might be corrupt.
Well, wow. Well,
that's heavy. That's heavier than we usually get on the mashup here. I feel like I'm going to a funeral for Republic.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on the bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.